And so I tried to describe this experience of Augustine to the classroom. And I have to tell you, we had a lot of good sessions. This was by far the worst session we had. And partly because I didn't really express what Augustine was all about. I got into vague generalities about love and the power of love. Part because I think it was tough for them. There are some authors they truly got immediately, Machiavelli. That sounds worse than I meant. They got Danny Kahneman immediately. It's Thinking Fast and Slow. This was a tougher one. And so you got the sense of these two overlapping worlds, the inner world of Augustine and then our current culture. And again, it's not about the students who are great. It's about the pressure that they're in and we're in. And these two overlapping worlds reminded me of a book which I highly recommend everybody, which was written by a guy named Rabbi Joseph Soloveitchik. And he wrote a book in 1965, a very famous book, very short but very profound book called The Lonely Man of Faith. And in that book, he argues that there are two accounts of Genesis two accounts of the creation of the world in Genesis. In the first one, man is given dominion over nature and is told to go out and run the world, basically. In the other one, man is made out of ashes and is just told to tend the Garden of Eden. So one is very ambitious, one is very humble, or what Soloveitchik puts it, one is majestic and one is humble. And he says these two accounts describe the two sides of our nature. That Adam 1, what he calls Adam 1, which is majestic Adam, that's the worldly ambitious side of our nature. Adam 1 wants to build, create, produce, discover things, have a great career, win victories. Adam 1 is aggressive, independent, wants to impress the world. But then there's a second Adam, which he calls humble Adam, and this is Adam 2. Adam 2 wants to be enveloped by love, by security, by meaning. Adam 2 wants to fall back on the hush, to surrender to God. So Adam 1 wants to conquer the world. Adam 2 wants to obey a calling and serve the world. Adam 1 savors accomplishments. Adam 2 savors time spent with a family. Adam 1 wants to venture forth. Adam 2 wants to return to roots. Adam 1 wants to ask how things work. Adam 2 wants to ask why things exist. And Soloveitchik's point is that these two sides of our nature are perpetually in contradiction, that we live in the self-confrontation between these two sides of our nature. And there's no ultimate reconciliation between these two. And the complexity of what he describes, or of the conflict between Adam 1 and Adam 2, is that not only are they different sides of our nature, but they operate by entirely different logics. Adam 1 has an economic logic and a very direct one, that input leads to output, investment leads to return, practice makes perfect, you work at something, you get results. That's direct. Adam 2, the inner and more spiritual Adam, has an inverse logic. You have to give to receive. You have to surrender to something outside yourself to give you strength within yourself. You have to conquer your desire to get what you want. In order to fulfill yourself, you have to forget yourself. The greatest success leads to the greatest failure, which is pride. Failure leads to the greatest success, which is learning. And so we today, I think, I'm reminded of this at Yale, but I'm reminded of this every day at the New York Times and elsewhere. We live in a culture which nurtures Adam 1 and sort of forgets about Adam 2. And this is, I think, one of the challenges of our day. In the 1950s, people were challenged by conformity. In the 1960s, they were challenged by excess. In the 1980s, maybe materialism. I think today we're challenged by the competitiveness of the global economy. And Adam 1 wants to have a monopoly. He wants to be the only Adam, and the world sort of encourages that. And the problem is, if you are only Adam 1, you turn into a shrewd animal. You're sort of a crafty, self-preserving creature who turns everything into a game. And you lose a certain inner joy and an inner peace.